Keep slaying.
Oh, so great. Now, today on the Philcast, I'm joined by an absolutely amazing dude, Barricade. He both streams on Twitch and has a YouTube channel. Links to both of those in the description, so make sure you head over and give him a follow. Now, just for context for this conversation, we do this after the PTR for Season 3 of Diablo 2 Resurrected, but before they made any changes from that PTR. Now, thanks for joining us, and hope you enjoy the podcast. Alrighty, welcome in everybody to the Philcast once again, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by a legendary Twitch streamer, content creator, guy's got a YouTube channel, makes some very entertaining stuff. Here over is Barricade. Round of applause, whether you're sitting on the toilet watching it, whether you're at the gym, you're on the treadmill, listening to the podcast. Welcome in. How you doing, Barricade?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be here. Thank you for having me. And of course, always a good time with Sweet Phil, right? Yeah, let's get after it for sure. Yeah.
Oh, starting off with it. Let's go.
Yeah. Cheers.
So how much? Oh, yeah. Cheers to the coffee, too, man. Ooh, never too late or early for coffee, right?
It's always a good time, of course. Yeah.
So how's the cold weather treating you? I know you're a Canadian and I'm from a Michigander. I hear Canada gets even colder than Michigan, right?
Yeah, most times, yeah. So if we're not riding polar bears or making igloos and having a good time, but it is just chilly, man. But good thing we dine in hell with demons, right? So it stays warm and toasty. So it's a good balance. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and constantly swinging the swords and throwing the javelins. That's a good cardio workout. Keeps the blood pumping, stay a little bit warmer.
That's right. Blessing hammers and making them pay for it. That's exactly what it is. What we like to do, right? So got to kill demons, man. There's too many of them, and someone's got to prune them. So that's us. Yeah.
Cool.
Always fun.
So, first of all, jumping in here right quick, just kind of a curious thing that I was wondering right off the bat. How long have you been like streaming and stuff? I'm not sure that one.
Right. So I rebranded about 18 months ago. So I used to stream for, this would be 7 years ago. I streamed as somebody called MTG Blogger. It was all about Magic the Gathering. So I'm a big Magic the Gathering nerd. I grew up in a card shop when I was younger. So for the last 6.5, 7 years on Twitch, to an average viewership of about 10 people, I was streaming Magic. It was top-down tabletop card games, that kind of thing. It was online, like I don't know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Magic at all, like MTG Arena.
Just a tiny bit. Like I played a little bit in school back in the day. So not in decade two, something like that.
Right. So I grew up in a card shop. So high school, after school, I'd go be playing cards. I worked at a card shop since I was like 13. So Magic was my life. And then it turns out there's like MTGO, Magic Online Digital Objects. And so I tried to stream that, but it's a very elite player group. Like it's when you're playing for money, like kind of like poker, but when you're playing for money in front of people, you have to be at like a very critical level of everything that you do anyway. So I tried to stream that. It wasn't really going my way, but I always had this passion to stream. So then I saw Diablo 2 Resurrected and I said, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. And 18 months ago, it changed my entire life. And now I'm streaming D2R full time since September 1st for some of the best people I've ever met, yourself included. So it's been about an 8-year grind now, and we're just getting started, which is kind of crazy, but it's awesome. It's amazing.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That D2R kind of like, we'll say explosion with the content creation and stuff like that probably did a lot for a lot of people. So that's awesome to hear that it's kind of the same for you. And just judging by when I've watched your streams and stuff, it's probably a circumstance of like, you just couldn't get the audience in front of you because you are one of the more entertaining streamers I've ever seen. I'm going to be honest. And I'm not going to lie. I've been stealing some stuff from you. I'm going to be honest, watching your stream. The dance moves I use all the time. Sure. The time. So
yeah. If you want to give us one at any time, I'm ready. I'll hit you
right now.
You want to go?
No, my the headphones wired. If I had wireless headphones, I'd be in.
I can only go this far. I get it. No, that's good. Thank you very much. Listen, I get that a lot. The entertaining thing. I try to. I'm always cognizant of when I'm streaming to people, yourself or anybody else, right? Like, what would I want to see? How can I break the monotony of chaos run number 3,745? Like, how do you do that? So, not only is it a stream, but we're creating entertainment for people. But I also want to create that community experience. So, a lot of it was like me and Sweet Phil, right? In case you guys didn't know, we were ladder team partners. I was the Barb. He was involved too, and he had a whole bunch of awesome Sunder charms, right, to give his community. Hopefully that worked out. Because we exploit early, we exploit often, but we tried to help, right? We tried to help each other out. So we've been playing for a while, but yeah, it's all about that experience. So thank you for saying what you're saying, and I'm very lucky to even have anything. And if I can entertain you, then great. It's awesome, man. Yeah. Awesome.
definitely entertaining. I try to do a little bit of that too. It's some of it comes naturally to some people. Some of it is I try to learn how to be more entertaining or without being, because it can be a learned or a what's the word I'm thinking of, like a adopted trait to be more entertaining and stuff. But you don't want it to come off as fake or whatever. So I just personally, I just try to act goofy as heck and just let it fall.
I can touch on that. I can touch on that, man. Don't mean to cut you off. So sorry.
No, it's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it was like with the magic thing, right? For 6.5, 7 years, and like a lot of people that stream, I'm just getting started myself. But if you listen to this one point, it'll change everything. Just be you. Like Phil's him, I'm me. We're doing our thing. If you try to be that representative, what you think people want, we see right through that. And so I had to learn that lesson. Like I was trying to be like, hey, here's the deck of cards you're going to use, and this is why. Like, shut that shit off. Just be you. Just be you and like enjoy your time live with people and be super lucky if anybody comes around to say hello. And that's the truth, right? Like, you know this too, right? Like, just be you. You get so much more out of it.
Yeah, it really is a great thing, great advice. I mean, and with streaming and stuff, it sounds like, it seems like, oh, you're just playing video games for a living. Jesus, crazy, this or that. But it really is, especially if you ever get to a point where it is, and I don't mean you, but people in general, where you're trying to act a certain way to please a certain people, it becomes so much of a job. And there honestly has been times where I'm trying to, like, especially when you're streaming to like 3 people, we'll say, and you're trying to like keep talking and keep going, and it's mentally taxing to try to be entertaining when maybe you don't necessarily, it doesn't come naturally to you.
Yeah.
Since I've gone to YouTube, it really has been a lot better for me, and I kind of get asked all the time about why I stream on YouTube and don't stream on Twitch or whatever. But ever since I came to YouTube, just streaming, because as soon as I switched, I started streaming to more people, and that just became actually having people to talk to. Whether they say, "Oh, did you see that playoff game last night? What about macaroni and cheese? Whatever it is, it's made it so much easier since I've switched to YouTube. On Twitch, I couldn't get a leg in the door, I feel like, but since I started streaming on the same YouTube channel I make the videos on, it's been real great. You
I got to give you your awards here too. Like you make some really good stuff. You should be very proud of the stuff you put out. Like the way that you pop your images out. Like this is an artwork. We're just talking, having a good time, having a good podcast. But the work Phil's doing is really nice. Like all of your stuff pops. Your thumbnails are great. You're informative. It's got your personal spin, right, fellas? Anything you do is like, it's very awesome. I enjoy your stuff. So it was a no-brainer to do this with you. Hopefully we're gonna have a good time, and so far I am. But you're stealing from me. I'm stealing from you. We're all looking around, going like, how can we make our stuff better? And we're all trying to improve our work. Everybody wins. The entire community wins, right? So thank you for that. And I can really elaborate on that 3 viewer comment because, like I said, 8 years ago when I started streaming, I was talking to a wall. There was nobody else, but my delivery mechanism is the same. Whether there's hundreds of people in the stream or zero, I was talking to the wall. And so I'd act like people were there, right? Because you gotta fake it till you make it in the very beginning. You're trying to get your foot in the door, but the door is so closed. Yeah. So you're like, what do I do? Because I don't want to watch somebody who's not saying anything. It's not engaging. So all those things, and you can really get caught in your head, right? You can get caught in your head doing this stuff. So you just have to be you. Just breathe and try to have fun with it. And then people are gonna have some fun, you hope, right? And maybe you resonate with people and that's what it is. So lucky, man. Lucky.
Yeah, totally, for sure. So as always, on these type of things, we love talking about all, different things, Diablo 2 Resurrected, Diablo 4 related things, all that things. So sure. I'm going to jump into some Diablo 2 Resurrected stuff here. I'm known as anti-change guy. I don't know if you've heard this or not. Anti-change guy. Not completely true, though. There is some stuff that I would love to change. And let me know what you kind of think about it. Do you agree, disagree? I'm going to guess right off the bat here, without knowing what you think necessarily, that you're going to agree. Extra stash tabs or a currency page, definitely add something like that in, whether it's one or the other or both or something like that. How do you feel about those particular things?
Okay, so I know your stance on this, so I agree. We need more of both would be great, but the limit to 20 characters per account is really the crux of the argument. The fact that we have a limitation at all is sort of a problem. So if I, like you said before and in previous Philcasts, if I could spend $10 to get 3 tabs, would I do it? Absolutely, I would do it. Would I like to have a holy grail kind of tab where if I pick up uniques, let's say I found a Tyrael's armor, right? And I save that, it goes into my grail tab inside my UI. I could search, oh, do I have this item yet? Yes or no? Like that whole interface could be added to the game. And I would happily pay for that because that's something I would want. Now, do purists want that? Maybe not. But that's what I want. I want that. That makes me enjoy the game more. I can play it more efficiently. So I would like to see a bit of both. And from what the previous podcast, I guess host was referring to, they won't do both, I believe is what he alluded to, right? You're not going to have tabs and a grail, right? But why not? I'd support that. I'd like to have it all. I'd like to have, let's say I find a grandfather and then I find a better version. My grail list page shows me the best one I found since I've played the game. That'd be wonderful. That'd be great. And then, I don't know. I just think more people could benefit from that. And of course, like the tabs thing. I want more tabs for sure, but that's not all that I want. I want to be able to search across my tabs because something I do when I'm live is I do a lot of community engagement. So like if somebody says, hey, I need Mage Fist. I'm like, no problem. It'd be awesome to go into my tabs and go type in Mage Fist and then boom, it's in this tab. It's highlighted. It's right there. It's item number 1. Perfect. Got it for you. Here you go. Like that'd be awesome. Don't you think? Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I would say going in each one of those things you said, I would definitely increase stash tabs. I would love the whole more than 20 character limit. That is something that I think, I don't know why there is that limit, especially when it comes down to Switch for Switch even for single player, there's a limit of 10 or 20 characters, but on PC you can have unlimited obviously for offline, but online a limit of 20. And that it seems a little bit odd. Obviously, the characters take up almost no memory room, so I don't know necessarily the purpose. Maybe it's, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, but maybe it's something they decided would limit the amount of duping in some way. I'm not really sure exactly. I don't know anything, but that seems to be one of the things they always come back to. But I would also like the whole Grail Tracker thing too. The only thing with that is and all this comes down to me not knowing how much work it would take for them to put stuff in. Probably not that much, but I feel like the Grail Tracker would be kind of like a very limited group of people who would really want that. You know what I mean? Because you can already, there's 30 different of them online, right? That everyone already uses, but obviously integrated into the program would be amazing. But,
so I hear what you're saying. And like, I just if it's for the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, right? Why not? If it helps us enjoy the game in a longer format, like why not? We're looking for more reasons to play Terror Zones, that kind of thing. And I'm sure we'll touch on that too, but I'm just looking for reasons to enjoy Diablo with people. And if you put a Grail in there, that gives us all a reason to continue playing together, slaying together, and hopefully having fun. So I support that. But as for the reasons why it's 20 and 10 on console, who knows? But it's what we got now. So we got to try and do the best we can with what we have to work with. And I would absolutely throw a couple extra bucks out there just for some stash tabs. I would love that.
Yeah.
And
just for the people in the comments, we obviously would rather have them for free. Okay, because we've mentioned that before, like even if they charge a few bucks, and then people are like, why would they charge us more? We already bought and we definitely would rather have them for free. And I can't imagine it'd be that hard if these random people in their studio apartments can make these mods that have extra stash tabs. I'm sure that professional programmers could do it like boom, done. You're totally right too. But I think that someone deserves to, and you're not saying no to this, but someone deserves to get paid for the work, right? And so I'm not saying we have to be charged for everything at all. That's not my stance. I'm with Phil. Free is great. That's the best price. But if I had to throw a tenner at you to make my life, a little bit better, I'd be down, right? So yeah, absolutely. Yep. Right. And
totally agree.
And let's see, D2R, was it $40 when it first came out, right? So
I'm Canadian, so it cost me about $150.
Oh boy,
it's like $80-$90. Yeah.
You had to pay the French crowns or something. You guys use?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, the loonies is what it is. Yeah.
There you go. But
too good.
But yeah, and then like imagine a lot of the people probably bought it on sale for like $20. So yeah, I mean an extra $10 for like the stash tabs and stuff like that. I don't think is out of the question.
Well, that's interesting, right? From a business decision, right? We're already buying more copies of the game, but that's a bit of a tax on the user, right? Like, I don't want to make a second account. I don't want to make a frivolous second email just to log in to do some transfer. Like the shared stash tab was made. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know all the stuff here, but I thought they made that so we could transfer between characters faster, right?
Definitely part of it.
So if ultimately we're trying to just make more space, you want that to be an easy route, not an encumbered route, which is what it is when you buy account 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So it's like, what was the goal? Because it feels like we're playing darts. And again, I don't know, but like you mentioned, we're not the guys writing the code, so who could say, right? Who knows?
And one argument too, in my opinion, generally, and anyone could throw down in the comments what you think. I generally play games longer that I enjoy more, right? And I feel like nobody enjoys transferring stuff to a character and then searching. Oh, where did I put that Shaco at? Oh, is it on Mule 125?
Yes.
Is it on, oh no, it's on my Leia the Assassin or whatever, and you can't
third account, 7th character down, and where that that's where it was, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was actually a peasant's crown. Oh, right. Oh, geez, yeah, sure. Like, who knows, right?
Transferring stuff over and moving it around, all these things that nobody likes doing. I feel like just doing in one swift move of programming a little bit in there, making the game more fun and more entertaining, causing more people to play in the way that, especially online, the more people that play, the more people that want to play. Like, that's the way games work. If nobody plays a game, then nobody wants to play it. If everyone plays it, everyone wants to play it. So just making the game better in general. It sounds not that it sounds counterintuitive, but maybe they look at it as like not worth the effort. I feel like the amount of effort, unless I'm way off by how hard it would be to do, would totally be worth it to make people enjoy the game more, to spend less time moving things here and there and stuff like that.
And so like, sort of just to surmise my point, and I think yours as well, we like the game the way it is. We want that extra little, that'd be nice, quality of life improvement. So, right? Like, we like it the way it is, but that little nudge would be like chef's kiss. It'd be so much better. Yeah, I agree with you.
Totally, yeah. Sure. And none of that stuff would really like change the game. It wouldn't change the game play or anything that anyone likes doing. There's no one ever said they like moving things around, right? Nobody.
Well, there was one time when we did back in LOD, right? When we would hide things in the corners of acts, and then someone would join your game and leave, and you're like, "Oh, where'd he put it?" And then you have this hunt. Remember this? Trying to find out what he dropped. Yeah,
I've done that. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I can remember doing that, and I can remember someone finding where I set the stuff at, and painful. I think I lost like my mage fists and I don't know, a couple perfect gems or something.
Yep. And
or
it's
you
the
come
worst,
back and you get that temp ban or something because you left too quick and then you can't get back into the game.
Shame.
Yeah, I know that.
Yep. Those were fun, different times, but the tabs have solved that, so that's kind of nice. We have to play the game more, but just a little bit more. But
exactly.
Yep.
So when you mentioned the character limit stuff, do you think there should just be no limit at all, or do you think 50, 100, or you just think like no limit online? Because I feel like at some point you'd have to have a limit, right?
Well, I think what ends up happening is no one's going to make 100 characters to 99. So you're basically just making a bunch of mules on an account. So what's the goal with making more characters? What's my opinion on that? 20 is stifling. I'll say that. Like, I own 2 accounts personally because I play with a lot of people. So I like to have non-ladder characters ready to go if someone needs the Ubers because they don't play seasonal play. I need online seasonal guys. I need hardcore non-ladder and hardcore ladder. So I already need a bunch of spots. 20 stifles me. So that's tough. So if it was increased to some arbitrary number like 50, maybe I'd be okay with that. I don't know where the ceiling is, but I guess I couldn't really speak to that. Again, I think more tabs is the answer for me, and searchable inventory and indexing would be great. And what that could let you do with the trades interface throughout the game, but that's a whole separate conversation. But to your question, a little bit more than 20 would be nice, and more tabs, please. Yeah.
I haven't thought about it. Definitely over 20. Yeah, more stash tabs. I would be on board. I was kind of asking that question about the character limit because I never thought about how many really either, because you don't want some guy having 1,750 characters, right?
Why? What's he gonna do? Yeah, well, why would he do that? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. So, and yeah, definitely more stash tabs. I would love if it's just extra 3. If they do a pluggy situation, give you 100, I'd be fine with that too in some way. So yeah, a bunch of different changes, and really, I would kind of be with extra stash tabs and like one currency tab where it's just like, here's how many L runes you have. You have 17 L runes, 32 Eth runes, 47 Zod runes, because I find so many of them,
Zod Master. Yeah. So we're kind of delving into a rabbit hole here about like the currency tab. So if I can give my opinion on this one, sort of, and again, in the comments, tell me if you think I'm way off base.
That's why you're here.
Hey, right on. Thank you, man. So the stackable currency, I'm a huge advocate for, but the argument is, I think from most people that I see is, let's say I had a stack of 10 Baroons because you found 10 Baroons, right? So you had a stack of 10 Baroons, and somebody dupes that. The stackable currency makes it easy for us to just dupe it. So that's not a good thing. We don't want to do that. So there's no currency tab. But if you're like architect, if you're an architect for a database and all this jazz, every single Baroon that Phil drops or Barricade drops or whoever drops, it has an ID number to it, right? So if you have an array, a list of different ID'd Baroons, that already exists. So when you try to duplicate that and submit that to a database, it should say, hey, wait a sec, that already exists, and poof the IDs. So if we could construct this in the way that works, don't we all just win? Like, we have to change the way that it is. It's not going to be the same. Do you agree with that to some degree? Like, let me know your thoughts are there.
That they should be able to architect it so that each Baroon has its own specific ID you're talking about, so it should poof and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that should, but it's not going to be what it is today. Like, to make what we're looking for, things have to change to suit the need that we want, right?
Okay.
And so in that restructuring, I think that it'd be possible to maybe look at that problem and solve it before it ever was a problem, right? Shut the door, like you're saying, shut the door before you can even have that issue. I think so. What do you think?
Okay, yeah. That duping issue, it does kind of come with the stackable runes, and that's why kind of more of the currency page would be more of the way I would go, and there could be something I could be overlooking, obviously. I don't know everything in the world, but if you have the currency page, it's just a picture of the rune with a number next to it. So, I mean, I guess someone could hack and figure out how to change that number, but you couldn't, like, take that and, like, dupe it in the any method that I'm kind of like semi-aware of, but so
let's nip it in the bud, right? If you go like, hey, I got a stack, you can't just trade a stack. You can pull out of the stack and trade 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And that way we see what they're, so you have bird number 001, I got 002, and we just trade. And now I have 001, you guys so we can make that happen. And these guys are like, this is their job, right? They should do this in their sleep. So they should have this solved, right? So it should be possible.
Yeah. And even if there are some exploits, I kind of, some of the other podcast guests I've had on, and I agree with what they said, that you shouldn't really, make all of your decisions based around some bad actors, right? Like, you can't not have candy bars because people steal candy bars. You try to figure it out. So
that's a good line. Yeah, that's good.
So just because someone's gonna misuse something, it doesn't mean you can't have it for the people that are gonna use it correctly or whatever. So.
Right. Yeah. There's always going to be a consequence to the new thing, and that's okay. That's what I said with us. Exploit early, exploit often. I was on that barb, and I found those items, and I gave it to as many community members as I could, because that was the thing. And the next day when you streamed, I believe they had that sucker patch. You couldn't find those. We're talking to Sundergrand charms back in the beginning of the podcast here, but happy to do it. That's an oversight, but that's my reward for pushing through with DB and Phil and Necro Spenny and the boys. Like, we had a good time, and that was our reward. So did it ruin the whole league? Not so much. Did it empower some people? Absolutely. So yeah, I
appreciate because when we got done streaming, for me anyways, I was like, I got to go to bed. I'm tired. I can't stay up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning anymore. In my advanced age.
No, so, you're barely 22.
Not to mention I had like 8 beers. So
yeah, you're having a good time. I remember that. That was good.
You're like, you ready to take a drink, Phil? I was like, I already finished that beer and opened another one.
That's right. He was killing it. Yeah, you're good. Hey, you're thirsty. You gotta take care of that. It was so good, man. I had such a great night. That was fun.
Yeah, that's hydrates you, right? That's hydrating, right?
Something like that. I guess so. That's what I hear. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Sure.
So, and another thing about different changes and stuff. It's something I'm a little more leery on. I'm generally against, even though I've been kind of happy with what they have done so far. But I'm just kind of get worried about some changes sometimes, worrying that they're going to go too far, and that's. Specifically, I'm talking about the different skill balancing and stuff like that. Because with the old ones, Nova, I think I like Nova. I like where it landed. Fist of Heavens, I like Fist of Heavens. It's good. It's not better than a Hammered In. It's not better than this or that. But I think it's good and usable. A lot of the stuff like that they've boosted up, fire traps, summon druid, a lot of these things got boosted up, and I think they landed pretty good. But in general, for future changes, in my Sweet Phil opinion, I don't want them to change too many things, because I'm just so nervous that they're going to do something crazy over the top. What are your opinions on different skill balancing changes?
First of all, I think you're a great guy. Second of all, I hope it doesn't end right here.
I know where that's going.
Yeah. The easy, right? I like your reservist approach. You want to keep D2 fun. So do I. But I want change, man. Like I want to see some change. So we have the game the same way for 20 years. I think that let's look at like a really good solid point for my argument, right? Melee is hard to play on player Zetas of Barb. You could gear out dual grief. You could have fortitude ready to rock and roll. You got your Ariats chammed out the wazoo. You got the rings. You're all set to go. You spent a lot of time trading to get that character right. And you are way slower than one Blizzard. It's like, how is that fair to that guy? This guy works all day long. He likes playing that big Barb, right? He gets in there, he's spinning around, and he just loses. It's like, how can that be? So I am an advocate for change. And so for a melee character, give me that AoE, give me that splash damage. And I heard the conversation previous podcast about monster regeneration. But the characters I'm talking about, they have open wounds. They're going to hit those targets. They're going to bleed out. They're going down. If you could just, I'm not saying corpse explosion level 1 or anything like that, but let's design a new mechanism that supports the melee characters because they're way behind. And like, I too want to see a massive new rune word, like a huge axe that cleaves. I would love to see a 6-socket weapon that's nuts, or like a thunder maul that's huge, or a war pike that makes sense. Because like these whirlwind barbs are getting just taken to the cleaners, and they shouldn't go up against a Fenzon that can one tap Diablo or 3-tap like Ubers. It's there, but the mobility suffers. So I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I think I'm an advocate for change where I see a problem, and there's a problem with melee. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, melee is definitely, and don't worry about going off on tangents. That's exactly what we love on the podcast. Awesome. And yeah, nothing wrong with disagreeing either. That's how I like to learn stuff from other people. And a rune word that would go for a 2-handed melee weapon, I would kind of be on board with it. I don't feel like changes like adding in rune words is as much of a problem as rebalancing skills. And it's not even necessarily that the rebalancing skills is going to be a problem, but sometimes I worry about if things are going to get changed too much, and a line that I've liked using, like, and I don't know if you've ever heard this saying before, but don't let perfection be the enemy of great. And obviously
I have heard that. Yeah.
Diablo 2 has been, in my opinion, great for a long time. And do you want to start mixing around too much? You know what I mean? I
think you and I have a similar concern, which is a term called power creep. It was in Magic, it's in Diablo, it's in anything, right? So if we just keep bringing that power level up, then the end game becomes like moot and pointless because everybody one-shots everything. So I still want to keep the class fantasy in there. I don't want power creep to be too important, but I want to be able to participate. And I think that's what the Terror Zones and Sunder Grand Charms let us do. More classes are included in the conversation of dealing with the end game questions of like fire immune targets, or like Cold Sword got owned. Like they're just already sailing. That's fine. But fire immune targets for Fire Druid was good. Bone Break is tough to use because you get clapped. So there's a lot of questions to like be answered there. And Magic, the Magic Sunder Grand Charm is doing nothing for anybody. And there's no way to off-center augment the magic damage you take from things like Diablo's one-handed special. Like it's brutal. So there's a lot of questions that need answering there, but I think we can only answer those if we try great things and not try to be perfect, but just tempt fate a little bit. Like, how does that look? That's what a PTR is for. We set the number up and then we pull back a little bit. That's what I would like to see. And I made this video recently about the mosaic rune word. And so on max roll using a character sheet calculator, I got up to somewhere north of 690,000 damage on a finishing move. It's like, what the hell is that? That is so much. 600,000 damage. That's like clearing the whole room. So bring that into real life. It was 96,000 damage with a 3-charge martial arts in. So I tried that out and it was pretty good, but that rune word, like we're kind of talking about here, it's not there yet. It's trying to be great, but I don't think that's the move, and we'll see what they go with. Because as you know, right, like as of the time of this podcast, they're still making changes to patch 2.6 rune words, and we don't know what that is yet. And there's a lot of consequence with the new ones, and I'm kind of concerned, but I'm also excited to see what they come up with. So, Hustle looks sick, by the way. Can't wait for Hustle on a Boazon. My God, is that good? It's going to be so good. Puts Boazon right back on the map. Okay. So good.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't dabble around too much in the PTR stuff. The new rune word stuff, they kind of didn't excite me too much. Yep. But so I didn't really dabble around with it too much. Let me tell you a little something sweet. So Boazon with Hustle. So on swap, you use Hustle, right? You get Burst of Speed proc, which gives you velocity or like character increased attack speed and movement. In addition to like it's like EIAS. It's something totally different on different calculations. So when you're using Wind Force on that Boazon, it's going to feel like it used to. Do you remember back in the day shooting that multi-shot and pushing targets back and just clearing things out like those days? Yeah.
That's coming back. So if you played a Bozon on P8, you are crushing things now with Hustle. It's very, very good. And it's easy to proc Hustle. It's so nice. So it's a 5% chance to cast a level 9, I think, burst of speed. So it's already incredible. And once you proc that, you switch back to your other weapons. So there's a bit of a weapon swap. And when you do that, Wind Force cranks. And I tried everything. I tried Mist, Faith. We tried Witch Wild String, Dual Shield, like all these bows you could imagine. I had these offline characters made on the PTR test, and I wasn't getting enough out of the PTR characters that we got, so I had to make my own. We tested it all live, and it was like, wow, Bozon's actually really good. Holy smokes. And so that was pretty great. So Throwbarb's actually nuts. Bozon looks good. Those two classes got the best. But then there was like you said, you weren't really impressed, and neither was I. Like Bulwark's not doing much. It's a nice intermediate helmet for mercs, I think, until you can get like Andy's, Vampire Gazer, Tall Roshes, which are like the go-to, right?
Yep.
So at least you have Bulwark there. Temper's good for the merc if you want to use that for farming Trav, I think. Ground is good for like smiters early on, but be that as it may, the Throwbarbs got hooked up. Metamorphosis from the Druid. I tried to do something super sneaky. I tried to use Hustle on a Barb, in addition to Frenzy, in addition to Metamorphosis with Beast to get the Werebear bonus, which is going to be Crushing Blow, Physical Reduction, all that good stuff. And it turns out there's a bug or an intended effect that I don't know about.
Yeah, that was the first thing I tried a little bit. Something along those lines. Throw a Wolf Howl on a Barbarian and try some stuff, yeah.
And what'd you find out? What happened?
You can't do nothing. You can only use Druid skills with... Well, actually, the what I did originally, I didn't know. I thought it was a glitch. But then someone was like, actually, we're pretty sure that's intended. But I was on a Druid. I went around, slapped some stuff. My battle orders ran out. So I swapped to human, went to cast battle orders. I'm like, why? There's a glitch. Nothing will work. And then I tried the Wolf Howl thing, and I was like, oh.
really, really big. Like, don't you think it'd be nice to get some of that shared power between classes? Like, I want to feel like that Werebear Barb. Don't you think that'd be cool?
Yeah. That's I definitely kind of would. That's why I went ahead and tried it. But yeah, they must think that it would be too much or something, or maybe they just had the inclination that it would be too much, so they decided to set it that way. Throw it to the PTR and see what's up. Because like you said earlier, we're in the middle of PTR here. We'll have to see how the changes end up coming. But
if I look at it like from what they've been trying to do and increase like inclusivity of different builds and stuff. So the Wind Druid, like the NATO Druid, Hurricane Druid, that's a staple. That's been around forever, and it's pretty great. The Fire Druid got some love, which is huge. We need a shape-shifting Druid that can teleport. Give these guys the ability to keep up with the team, because if you're playing like online like we do, you watch the Druid, like he's fast, he's hitting everything, like everything around is getting a little bit of those claws, right? But then we teleport ahead and he's left behind. You feel bad for Chad back there, who's just he just doesn't have it. And Hustle's going to help him out to some degree, but I do think it's not asking a lot to give them teleport. What's your take on that?
I think that it should be able to teleport too, and it's not like I mean, a Barb can teleport, and they're mainly melee, or any other character can, except for specifically a shape-shifting Druid. I guess their argument is it's outside of like the, what do you call it, the lore of the character, or
the
whatever.
Ethos of the character. Yeah, the character.
But, I mean, they can cast certain things, but that they decide is cool. So I guess I'd be on board with teleport. I would.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to and again, this is that power creeper, opening that door of possibility. And so with that is Pandora's box and all the problems that could arise, but that's what a PTR is for. Give it a shot, because I don't think that's OP. And anybody in the conversation below, feel free to leave a message. Tell us what you think. I just don't think so. OP, like overpowered. I think we have to know what the ceiling is. And OP, what's your S tier? For me, I go Hammerden, Nova Sork, and like Javazon. I mean, like decked out. Those characters are top 3 for me. What do you think? What's your S tier?
Yeah, they're definitely up there. I mean, I would throw Blizzard in there. Because I mean, it wrecks everything with no gear too. So, how
far away is a Feral Druid from that? It's not even close. So, what is teleport going to do? yeah, exactly right. So, I don't think to become overpowered because it got teleport, I think is a bit strange to say, but I'd be curious just to find out what that's like personally. So anyway, that's my stance on that one.
I don't think it would be overpowered at all.
No,
and it would, like you said, just help them keep up for sure.
Because they need to. Yeah, that's my take on that. But that would make that class good. And so I don't mind change. I'm an advocate for change, even if it's like big change. Like we just started kind of touching on a massive two-handed weapon. I would like to see a Whirlwind Barb come back out of town with this massive whatever it is and just cleave things down. Hits one target, everything else just kind of rots around. It's like, finally, there we go. When this guy gets on target, you should be scared, right? That's what I want to see a melee character do. And I don't see that in Diablo 2, and I'd love to.
Yeah, I think I don't know the technical, obviously, of it. But yeah, if there was a you know,
Cone
the
attack?
way it was for like Diablo, or, you know, they showed it somewhat in Diablo 4 that there's like an
Yes.
attack, you know, like you said, a cleave area.
Yep.
I think that would be pretty cool. And I don't think it would overpower either. And I would also, like you had mentioned, I would love to see two-handed weapons be used, period, on something, you know, where you get those, like you said, the giant axes, a bone hew or something.
Yeah,
and
like
just,
make it good.
you know, instead of only occasionally for whirlwinders, you know, you can use a two-handed thing occasionally here and there. But yeah, none of the mauls really get used for just regular swinging or, you know, glorious axes and things like that. So yeah, a rune word option would be cool, in my opinion. But
Or go over some like again, I don't think you're saying this either, and I think the majority of people that I talk to, they feel the same way. So again, I'm not the representative here, just throwing it out there. Rune words aren't always the answer. Sometimes revisiting uniques and updating them, like over time, this unique got a shift. So let's say it's Bone Hew, right? What if Bone Hew had an AOE, or like not an aura, but like you know how when you, like you just mentioned, there's no real cleave mechanic in Diablo. It's more like auras, like omni zones, right? It attacks in a 360, like a shout barb, right? What if a hit did a shout off the target you're hitting to affect things around it, not push it around, but just impact its HP, something like that? That'd be cool. Like Bone Hew, like you hit and it resonates and sings and does damage, something like that. But change the graphic. That might be cool. I'd be down to just experiment with something like that. Could be kind of fun.
Yeah, I will say I feel like from talking to people on the podcast and stuff, I've been softening up maybe a little bit to more changes. But it's so
we're
hard.
winning.
Yeah, I will be honest, because a lot of the times, and maybe I need to give them a little bit more credit too, because like I said, when it came to the skill changes before, I was happy with pretty much all of them. Maybe some of them could have been turned up a little bit more, but I mean, I'd rather have them err on the side of under than over, right? Because once they make Sunder Charms drop everywhere, you know, they can't like turn it off, right?
Yeah,
they can't, because I feel like that's what it is. Once they turn something up, like remember the outroar when the firewall was too OP, you know, and then they turned it down. Everyone
was a double tick, right? Remember, it was a double tick of the firewall, and it was like, holy smokes, it's doing way more damage.
Yeah, something
That's
like that.
What you mean? Yeah.
And then they turned it down, and there was quite the uproar about that, you know. So once I think they kind of, I'm not gonna say learn their lesson, but that's the only. I'm not an English major, so I can't think of other good sentences to throw in here. But they learned their lesson that like pretty much that if they made things too powerful, everyone would be mad at that they turned it down, because some people just want things that are OP. You know, they don't want to. Some people. I'm not saying everybody, or even most, but I'm just saying some. You know.
So I play a Hammerden all the time, pretty much.
Oh,
so yeah,
No,
I'm the guy. Yeah, so
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, no, there is. It's like, it's because I go there, I gravitate to it because when I'm live with people, I want to carry players 8 games. I want a class that can champion the move, which is crushing Bale waves, crushing chaos, and just doing Ubers for people. And that Hammerden or that Paladin class does that for me. I want that to be a barb. I'd like that to be an assassin, just for a flavor mix, but I can't. I tried. It can't get there, right? It can't close the gap with charms. It's falling short. So unfortunately, I can't get there. So I play the overpowered class, and I'm okay with pulling back a bit. Like, I don't got to be doing 15,000 damage per hammer at 125 FCR. That's a lot. If that was 10, I'd be okay. I'd understand. But I'm not alone in the game. I got 7 other pals with me that are going to help clear. So we got static going out. I got conviction out the wazoo. Like, those demons are toast. It doesn't have to be through Barricade, right? It has to be through everybody playing. Like that's okay. So I'm okay. I'm okay reviewing the numbers. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So here, I'll ask you a question. I literally get asked all the time, and I always kind of struggle to answer, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
So you did say that Paladin is the one that you play most of the time. What would you say underneath that Hammerden? What would you say would be like your next favorite class? Is it going on to the Sorceress, or is it one of like the off builds on the Druid?
My favorite class is actually like a barbarian. I just like the thematics of a barb. I like getting involved in combat, walking up to a demon toe to toe, and let's see who walks away, right? I love that idea about video games, and it also helps me understand the mechanics of it. I love the Boazon. I always like that. I'm a big fan of Summon Necro, casting the curse and like watching the demons try to survive. I like the thematics of the classes. So barb is my favorite. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, the classes here, they don't, other than a Javazon, they don't support a player's 8 environment very well. So I'm sort of in this corner of strong characters. So I don't really love the Sorceress. She's too squishy, man. A bad teleport and it's all over. Like, I love the class, the mobility, but my God, try Hammered and it's just, you won't go back to a Sorceress. I'm just sorry. It's just the way I love it. Yeah, it's the way it is.
Well, yeah, I'm a little bit different there because I've definitely done Hammered in, but I do love the Sorceress too. I don't mind. I mean, I guess if the the people who watch me on stream once in a while, they know I don't mind dying once in a while in the game.
Yeah.
So no problem with that. Over reading chat like this. I'm like, oh, what happened?
Oh,
geez.
the curse.
Chat, come on, you killed me.
We need fish eyes, man. We got to be able to see everything at all times. That's what we need. That'd be great.
But yeah, I kind of get asked that question all the time about what my favorite class is or whatever, and I kind of, we could say, struggle to do it because I don't like playing the same exact class or build for a long time. I'll the way I always end up answering it is probably I usually name the character that I kind of like just started playing more recently that I really like, and that's the Summon Necromancer because
so fun.
Phil is a lazy guy sometimes, and yeah, I just go ahead, fellas. Like, oh, there we go, pop, pop, pop. All right, we'll move on, marching along. Yeah. So just so chill, and it can still just slaughter so much too.
I'm an advocate for for lazy play. Like I want a nice long duration call to arms bow buff. I want a huge holy shield, and I want to walk away and move on. That's why season 3, the season of the swap, may not be. I'm calling it season of the swap for like the hustle and all the stuff we're going to do to get that situation set up for our characters, right? Okay. That may not be for most people, which is why you might shy away from it. But to answer the question, if somebody asks me like, what's the best class? Like just in general, what is the best? I'll always tell them it's whatever's comfortable for you. Like I can't tell you what's going to be great for Phil or Barricade or anybody else. You have to try the class out, try the build out, and see what you identify with. That's what it comes down to. And for me, it's like I do like the barb. I think it's fun, but the toolkit's just not there yet, so I go somewhere else, and that's okay because I have options. I'm happy that I have options instead of having restrictions, and so that's how I'd answer that one. It's like, see what fits, man. See what fits you.
Yeah, I got you for sure. I actually do really like the barb too, actually, and I know you're mainly playing online, full players 8 games and stuff, doing kind of the holy grail hunting type of thing. Barbarian, like best magic finder in the game for finding those crazy rare uniques, players 1 in the pits type of situation. So yes, yeah, that's what
Pits provides huge. Yeah.
So I love doing the teleporting around players 1. Howl everything away. Boom, you're done. Item find, moving on again. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're definitely right. It's not the barb pretty much isn't great players 8 anywhere, right? Anywhere. Yeah,
not really. So what's interesting is with Hustle out of 2.6, the throw barb can clear Trav players 8 really easily. The problem with like a lacerator is it makes the monster flee, right? Okay. I'm curious. Yeah. So that's a bit annoying. But sometimes in Trav, right, wherever they spawn, they catch themselves in a box, and you just toss blades in a corner, and they're going down anyway. So it's actually really nice if you get a chance to try Hustle with a throw barb. It's going to be fun. You're going to enjoy that. And if you're lucky enough to trade up to a Pride for your Act 2 mercenary, a throw barb with Pride and Might, that guy's going down. And it's actually kind of cool. So give that a shot if you get a chance. Might bring you back into barb. It's fun. Okay, it is good.
Yeah, that sounds like some. You think the way that I would end up trying that maybe, and I kind of am not sure which way this is going to go. Do you think these rune words are going to come right to single player or not? I haven't heard anything about it. I can't remember how they did it the first season that when rune words came. So I think it's ladder only rune words. That's the incentive to go there, but I'm not sure about offline. I really am ignorant to that. I'm not sure. Oh, you don't play single player offline like at all, just strictly
never
solely online.
Yeah, I just connect with people and play. It's like I get the only reason I be offline is for PTR testing and seeing what's coming, so I could disseminate the info. But not really. No.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sorry.
No. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of single player just with the Holy Grail grind and stuff, and just the finding every single item yourself and just the craziness. Yeah. The one thing I don't like about online, and that's part of like considering magic findings, like the favorite thing I like to do is when you find something super rare and it's so what, where it on single player, it doesn't, nothing technically has a point. It's a video game, blah, 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 but like when you're Holy Grail and you find that Mangsong's lesson, it's like crazy exciting. It's not like, man, why did I get lucky in this bad way online? Because this isn't worth anything. Why couldn't I get lucky and find a Ja rune or something? Like on single player, I have like 7 Ohm runes. I have all these Vex runes, but I want that Griffin's Eye. Where are you, Griffins? Come on.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I can appreciate that too. Like this, I'm not blaming anybody. This happens. So when you play in like players 8 games, I get to play with some amazing people, man. Like you're one of them, and there's so many others out there. That the Diablo community has been so generous, and so where I'm going with this is I'm still on my Grail. I had 2 items left, and recently on stream, 2 of those items was Death Fathom, Death Web. Okay, since like before seasonal play, I just haven't hit these items because I just didn't. So Actually, we're running through chaos, sprinting through, having a good time, and wouldn't you know it, dimensional shard drops. And I was like, get out of here, right? And so because I play with other people, there were people around me. And it was like, did somebody just drop me an unID'd item? Did that happen? So we had to, flag on the play. We checked it at quarter speed and then the clip, and it's like, that's an actual drop. But you don't have that problem with single player because that's you doing the work, right? So it's a fun thing, and we screw with each other this way online sometimes. But the generosity of others, they're willing to help me complete my goal, but it's not honest work. So I'm like, come on, right? So anyway, got that down. We checked; it looks legit. So I got Deathweb to go and Dak Fair, and I'm coming for you. But we'll see what happens, right? So.
Nice. Yeah, Diablo 2 community definitely crazy generous, crazy nice amazing people out there. It was kind of the same situation. Well, not exact same, but yeah, at the beginning of ladder, I'm like, I just want to go ahead and get this, get that, get this. Kind of a way to show people and explain like how you can get this stuff all on your own and find it. And yeah, everyone wants to help you out, which I fully understand. Yeah, it's great community.
They're so awesome. Yeah, so amazing. So thankful for them. But in this regard, it's like, we got to do this. This is our quest. We have to conquer, right? This is our journey. Yeah. And like, don't shortcut it, man. Let me enjoy it, right?
So I'm definitely planning this season to play online longer than especially awesome. the last one. So
what are you starting with?
I don't know if I'm gonna be. I think I'm gonna be boring and start with a sorceress again, even though I've done it before. Having that teleport at the start is so beneficial from day one. Just being able to zoom, 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 and I think I'm gonna go Nova Sorceress again.
That's so funny. I've been getting the same question a lot, and so people are asking me, "What am I going to play?" And it's like, listen, I don't know what the full patch notes are, but I'm like you. Like I usually play Paladin, so I'm probably going to go Sorceress again, just for the mobility, the ability to collect gear, pay it forward to other people, and then make my character ready to go, and off we go. Right? That's the same reason you would do it.
Yeah. That's the week one ladder, like it doesn't seem that cool later on, but yeah, getting people their Tals masks, I mean, and even a string of ears and mage fists and things like that you can kind of collect quickly with something like a Nova Sorceress, because you don't have to. And this is I get asked a lot of times when you're starting with a sorcerer, if you go Nova, how do you get past this? How do you get past Act 4? How do you get past these? And I'm like, when I go with Nova Sorceress, I don't even kill Andariel in hell. I just get to Act 1 and I go to the Countess and I get keys, and you can trade that for stuff. Or what I do a lot of too is I just teleport around and Nova random champion packs in Act 1, random fallen packs, Bishibashi, stuff like that. I mean, they can drop Ohm runes too. They can drop Vex runes. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize. I made a video kind of about this recently, about how maybe like rune drops in cows in certain circumstances can be incredibly overrated. There are a lot of them. There are they actually have a slightly higher rune drop chance than a lot of other monsters. But when you can kill one flash from a Nova Sorceress, killing an entire group of Fallen instantly, when you're like level 62 in hell, try to go to cows at that time in ladder and killing the number of, you'd have to, what would you even do, right? You probably have a higher rune drop chance from Act 1 normal. Pretty confidently I can say that you will, killing a bazillion Fallen real quickly than trying to get to cows and slowly kill stuff like that.
So necessity is the mother of invention, right? So you're spot on the money, man. So like we started this season together. I was on the Barb. So the Barb does not do AoE. So my meal ticket was in hell, because we all got there day one, right? I got my butt out to Shank and I'd clap him, and then everything around him dies. And I was like, there's my AoE. And sure enough, right? There's that low rune. I'm like, okay, so now I got a choice. Do I use the low rune to make Fortitude, or do I use the low to make the Grief? How far is this Barb going? That's the question, right? And I said, nah, we're making Fortitude, built up a great merc that any character can use in the account. And that turned into a Paladin, and the story goes as it is. It's just say la vie, off we go. And we've been casting hammers ever since. But yeah, you make it happen. You're not going to do Andy. You're in Demon Lasagna, right? You're in different layers of demons in the tower. So no problem. Let rip. Sure. Yeah, I get it. You do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what when I did start with that Nova, I think I got a Sir rune from one of the goat dudes on the way down to the Countess or something, like taking out champion packs like that.
Yep. And there always. You hear people too. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there are the ghost packs on the people love farming ghost packs. So there's those on the way down and all that stuff. So
yep. Yeah, the thing is, like, I get this question sometime, like, where do I go for high runes? I just tell people, just kill as many things as you can and just have fun playing your character, because everybody can drop the stuff. And sure, there's like, you can do lower Kurast on players 8, and there is like a mathematical way to go, but is that fun? I don't have fun doing that. I just want to log in, talk to some people, have a good time, and blow some demons away. That's what I want to do. And sure enough, you get the value sometimes, right? I think I tell people this, and I hope it resonates. Like, just try to have fun playing Diablo. And if you're lucky, the rune drops. And if it doesn't, you can farm keys, you can get torches, all these things to get value. But just have fun. If you're having fun, you'll probably enjoy yourself more, right? Because you're having fun.
Well, definitely, yeah. And target farming for high runes is almost like a fool's errand too, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll be honest, I have done it single player. Just the thing about single player can be a little bit different because you can't trade for anything. Online, I'll target farm the Countess. If you do 1,000 Countess runs, you're going to get an Ist rune or 2 or 3 in there, probably, unless you're super unlucky. Maul runes, you'll get keys. You can trade that for stuff. But if you're on single player, like, you could kill a 70 bazillion monsters and a burr rune could never drop. You could find 5 Zods and not find a burr and never make your Enigma. So I do generally, when I start on single player, I'll target farm lower Kurast and then cube up to make Infinity or Enigma or both. It depends how much. And the thing with because I like talking to chat and stuff like that, it annoys me if I miss too many comments. I try my best, but I only read so good, right? But running lower Kurast, because you can boom, 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 read chat, on to the next game. 20 seconds go by, boom, boom, telekinesis, these chests, boom, loading next game, and you get a chance to read, respond, read, respond, read, respond. So it kind of works out, in my opinion, good for streaming. And plus, everyone gets super hyped when that high rune comes out of there, Yeah, you get
really good. Yeah.
you get that thumbnail, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's so good. You kill those, by the way. You got great expressions. You should, like, dude, hats off. That's fantastic.
I like doing the ones, it depends back and forth. Some of them are more subdued. Sometimes I'm just like, how stupid can I make my face look right here?
That's it. Just have fun with it. Who cares?
It'll catch somebody's attention. They'll look at it and be like, "Oh my gosh!" And then they looked at the thumbnail, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Right, appreciate it. Yeah, no, killer. Yeah. No, too good.
Hopefully y'all laugh. Hopefully y'all laugh at me a little bit too. It's hilarious.
I hope so. To have fun. We're playing video games, right? But we kind of glossed over this, and we're talking about cows and stuff. And I remember hearing in your previous podcast how the loot filter conversation. We just skimmed over this. We're having too much fun.
Didn't plug that one in yet. Yeah. But yeah.
So for the loot filter thing, Phil's story, if I hear it right, goes like this. He's killing so many cows and he saunters off to the left. Sorry, he goes right. And when he goes right, he notices there's a cham rune on the ground, but it didn't immediately arrive. He didn't see it right away because there's so much loot on the ground, thus give me a loot filter. Had he gone left, he never sees the rune. So my take is, I like loot filters too, but you could make the loot smarter in using a Z index. And a Z index says like basic potions, stamina potions, whatever, right? That's like CUD. That's bottom. No one's really going to pick that up. But if a cham rune drops, make that appear first in the order of sequence that people see. If you just did that, maybe we don't need a loot filter at all. But I'm down for a loot filter, and I really want to see I want to see a nice one, like something that you put some work into. I want to see all white items except for potions, stamina potions, antidote potions. Like, I don't want that. That'd be great if we go that far into it, but I'm with you. Give me some loot filter to make my enjoyment and efficiency better.
Yeah, like so when you say that Z, what'd you say? It was Z
so
filter?
Z indexing is like Z indexing is like this. Yeah, so like
certain items just have more priority, right? Is what you're saying?
Priority.
Like, so
exactly
runes will always be seen on the list. But things like antidotes will be like last on the list, so only if there's room to see them, kind of thing.
Like you press F to zoom in, then I see the ones below, like tier 1. Now I see 2, then I see 3 if I zoom in, right? That's how you could do that. There's so many ways to skin this cat, but that one would be all right. We don't need pillars of light. We don't need that. I'm an advocate for that too, because it's really cool, but it's always kind of fun to sift through this stuff and go, hey, yeah, there was a cham rune there. It's too bad I missed it. That should have been like number 1, right? Or, that there's ways to handle it, but I'm down for many solutions, but give me something. We need something, right?
Yeah, I absolutely do want something. Big proponent for that right here, because and you described it pretty much exactly. Slaughtered the cows. I grabbed like a random claw I seen there just to check if it was some base I could use for something. And then I run down and to the right, and then boom, it flashes orange real quick. I'm like, wait, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Or like
and nobody even knows how many times they did that and ran left and never seen it. It was gone forever. And Ginger Gaming Mentor, he said they had something like that where a guy was ahead of him killing stuff super fast, and he went on, and then Ginger just happened to run and come up from behind him, and there was a jaw rune sitting there. So like it happens probably more frequently
time.
than people probably remember. As for which exactly type of loot filter, yeah, I haven't really thought too much into how in depth it would necessarily need to be. Personally, I don't mind. Pretty much. Have you played any of the mods, PD2 or anything like that have loot filters in them?
Yep.
I'm fine kind of with how those are, with the exception of like, the one in PD2 I think got more advanced and more user friendly, I think. But yeah, like a tick box, like you could just go through and set it one time, and it could be like similar to, you know how you can save customs for your keybinds, and you'd go in and boom, make the default set again, and boom, you could have one set up for end game. So you just go through tick boxes like only super healing potions. And don't tick any of the stuff below it, so it won't show any of the minors or stuff like that. Antidotes, all stamina potions that no one ever touches. So
I'm into drilling down in so far as weapon type. Like I only want to see Atigan swords or bastard swords, or like, let's use a real life situation. I want to see cryptic swords, only ethereal. And like, so I type in like, options, gameplay, controls, or gameplay, boom, filter, enable. It brings up the interface, or it's an accordion, which is like I click on it, it kind of opens up. Weapons, click on that, swords opens up. Which ones do you want to only see? Or which ones don't you want to see? Check the ones you don't want to see, and boom, everything else shows up. And I'm okay giving that to somebody else, but that's what I want. Like, that's all I want to see. And that way, off we go. Now everybody wins. So, and like you said, save that as a loadout. I'm down for that. And we already know it exists in the game. We know the weapon types exist. It's all there for us. So I'd be curious to hear the conversation back. We would love to be a dev on the wall right now, right? They're like, these guys don't know what they're asking for. They have no clue. Like, couldn't do it, right?
Yeah. Do you know how hard this would be? We got the old game running in the background. We got the new game running in the foreground with the new graphics, getting this all to interface. These guys have no idea. They want everything. And I'm the anti-change guy. It sounds like I want everything changed, huh?
Yeah. And you're the anti-change guy. Yeah. So it's like when you even want it, so we need that, right? When you're asking for it, we need that for sure. But
we're almost, it sounds like we're pretty much exactly on the same page with the loot filter. And what you're describing is like almost a fantasy to me right there. It'd be amazing to have.
Yeah, only because like I appreciate people's time immensely. And so when Johnny on the spot gets home from work, 8-hour day, and he gets a couple hours to play, it sucks that Johnny missed the jaw because the game didn't give it to him. I want him to have nice things, which is why I'm a big advocate for open trading. But that circumstance where Ginger Gaming Mentor, right, where Buddy's throwing javelins and he misses the jaw. Good for Ginger, bad for you. But if that was Johnny on the spot, who's just trying to play with Ginger because he got that window of time, would have been nice, right? So, because not everybody's going to fall for the control click to show me what you got item, so it drops on the floor and you pick it up and you're that scum guy. Not everybody's doing that, right? So, yeah. No, who knows, right? I'm a fan for that. We need something.
And it kind of would help. Like you said, like the guy that only has an hour after work. I've heard people say, and this isn't everybody, but they want the rune drop rates turned up because they can't find stuff, this and that. Ooh. But I don't agree with turning up the rune drop rates, but you effectively would be if you just let people find the runes that did drop. You know what I mean? With the loot filter. So you wouldn't turn the rune drop rates up at all. That's not what I was getting at. It was that it would look like essentially people would just find more runes because they would would actually find the runes that they did find,
We have to fess up here, right? Like we have to fess up. You're 100% right. We're missing, as a community collective, thousands of runes, right? And we're missing thousands of runes that drop off ghosts off of the platforms in Act 2 Sanctuary, which needs to be fixed, in my opinion.
Oh, I would like that too. Yeah. Kind of.
we haven't even talked about our wish list yet, but
that never crossed my mind. But yeah, ghosts off of Act 2. Yeah.
Christ, there's like tons. There's Coke bottles out there. There's runes. There's shoes flying around. Like, give us something, right? So, in addition to all that, like, I think that it would be kind of nice to just have that in place so we could see what is missed. And when you know what's missed, you can see the total pool of things. The one thing I would ask for in addition to, and this is like fairy tale land, right? It'd be really nice, don't you think, if you could downgrade a rune 1-to-1? Do you really want that, sir? Bring it back. Bring it down,
so
right?
1-to-1. So you're saying if you took a Zod rune and you could do something and it would turn into a 1 Cham rune.
I'm saying I find that Cham rune, I want that 1 lower every single time because I really don't need a Cham anymore. I got it in my helmet.
Right? Okay, so I'd only asked the way that I had asked it because a lot of people who phrase that same question, they want it like rune breaking, like the opposite of cubing up. So like if you have a Zod and it would break it into 2 Chams. That's what a lot of people say they want. I'm like, there's a little hole in that because you'll end up with everybody taking their Zod and turning it into, I don't know in the math head here, but into 16 burr runes, That's not going to
No,
work.
I'm saying Zod goes to Cham, Cham goes to Zod, done. It's 1-to-1 down. That way I could use something. Like, I don't want to be penalized to the guy who only plays that hour, right? And finds the Zod. He's like, damn, I got the Burith. Where's that jaw? It's like, sorry, Teddy. See you in 7 months when maybe you hit that jaw. Like, it stinks for that guy. It'd be really cool if he could just have the thing. You know?
It's definitely, I would say, a better idea than you know, this is the way I'm trying to word. I'm trying not to like say like I'm saying someone else's idea is dumb or something.
No, good.
I don't, and it's no problem with people disagreeing. So, but people who said that breaking it down into 2 runes, I disagree with that. I disagree less with breaking it, going just 1, being able to cube it down 1. Because what it would end up doing is everybody would just take the runes that they don't want and cube them down to the ones that they do, all the jaws and the burrs, right? And then on the economy wise online, it would devalue things like Enigma faster. And everything drops in value over time anyways, but it would just happen even faster. It's hard to weigh from my experience and not having as much of the experience of people who do only have that 1 hour after work to play, you know, because, and especially as I play so much single player, so it's never been the same situation of I got to try to get Enigma on ladder as fast as everybody else.
Yes.
And I've never been on ladder. I never try to make Enigma or any, like I said, I farm the keys and stuff and take what I find and then I trade it. Like, this is what I used to do, I should say, before I was a YouTuber, and then trade that.
Still works even though you're a YouTuber. Yeah,
well,
still
yeah,
works.
It would still work, but yeah, trade that stuff in order to get the runes to make Enigma.
Yes.
Like, I would never even think of trying to find a jaw and a burr rune on ladder. Like, that's crazy. Like, I've only ever found I played single player pluggy on Diablo 2 for like almost 2 years, and I found 3 jaw runes. Like, I only found 1 or 2 burr runes, like, it's outside of LK running, which LK running online is a completely different situation than on single player. So I would never even think of trying to find those runes online personally, because there's just so you know, trade.
So how heartbreaking is it for you? Like, you got the Burith, you want the jaw, you hit the Cham. You're like, seriously? It'd be so nice to just go, got it, and then move it down. Now, I think you can't go 2-to-1. You can't rune break, like you mentioned. The economy would be ruined. And I like the trading economy. I like the way that it is. When it's not duped or botted. 100% against that. I like getting in there, farming the pits, farming World Stone Keep, farming Sanctuary together as a team, and let's celebrate each other's victories and the items that we get. That's what I'm advocating for too. But I think that it stinks when you can't rune down 1 instead of rune breaking down twice. Like, I
definitely wouldn't be up in arms about it, we'll say. So I'm almost neutral, we'll call it, on it, because I don't know exactly how. If I was in that situation, I would definitely want to be able to burr it down. But yeah, I don't know
who knows, right?
I can't weigh it. Yeah, can't weigh it for sure.
Yep.
So, also, great segue here. You talked about open trading, and we're going to slide into a little bit here for a game that isn't necessarily going to have full open trading. Diablo 4, huh?
Yes.
That is one thing, man. I wish Diablo 4 is going to have open trading, but how? Just overall, I guess, for Diablo 4, based on what you've heard, seen, I don't know if you've played the game at all, a little bit here or there, any of the betas or anything like that. What are your overall opinions so far on what you've heard about Diablo 4 or think about it?
So, precursor, you and I have something in common in that we're both on the outside looking in. So that motivated me to do as much research as I could, because I stream. I'm a content creator full time now, so I don't want to be the dog at the end of the race. I want to be able to inform people that want to watch my stuff and hang out too. And right, I want to be in that. You know what this is? Just speaking honestly, like, you got to be at the bowl if you're hungry, right? You got to eat. So I've been doing all my research and stuff. So as far as we know today, you can trade normal, magical, rare. You can trade elixirs and some other things like gold. You can trade all that stuff in Diablo 4. You cannot trade legendary aspects. You can't trade legendary items. You can't trade uniques. Won't be trading sets. Won't be trading any of that stuff. But magical, normal, and rare is up for grabs. It's super important because rare is going to be the base for everything we need. So what class are you playing in D4? Do you know?
I was thinking about... I'm trying to decide between... Barb. I was trying to... Barb is the character almost no matter what game I start. You know, whether it's, I always end up starting off with the melee barb of some kind. I was thinking maybe about doing like the transform, shape-shifting druid, which I know the way it's kind of set up, you can kind of you don't necessarily have to just go straight into shape-shifting the way D4 is. But, man, just seeing the druid, I think it jump off the mount and then transform midair into the bear and
Yeah.
That was like,
How cool is that? Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's so good, right? So so the reason I ask is like if you're going to be playing a barbarian and you know, there's you have this arsenal mechanic. So I'm tangenting off huge from your question, but it's so sick because we can hold 4 weapons at a time. And the average player is going to find, what did they say, 1 to 2 uniques per season? And a season goes what, 3 to 4 months ish? So I don't think you and I are the average player. That's not who they're talking to, because we're playing 44 hours a week of D2R, right? Like that's I'm in the stuff. So I'm looking to find more. And as a barbarian, I can hold 4 different unique weapons, receive all the benefits of all 4 weapons, then make legendary items that coincide with those unique abilities. I am in there like swimwear. Like I am so ready to go for D4. You mentioned this in the previous podcast, and you're not the only person to like say this, but bad news sells better on YouTube. You get more clicks, like drama, like, oh my God, Sweet Phil just broke the game, says Diablo 4 sucks. It's like, I will watch that because I want to see the mannerisms. I want to see the information. I love the content. I'm in. What's he saying? Rather than, I just found the nicest person ever. It's like, that's actually a good story to hear, but it doesn't sell as well. It's not as sizzling, right?
And that's nothing new either. That's like a tale as old as time. You look at news organizations and stuff. If it bleeds, it leads, so they say. So
that's a good saying. Yeah. So that's true. So I'm kind of advocating for my cup being half full, but I've got the blissful ignorance perspective. I haven't played it yet, but I like the idea of the Paragon board. I like the idea of I would like open trading just because the situation happens where you can't, like, you know, you're sipping 8 pops, hanging out on the season ladder start. You get a little blurry, right? You got to go. But hey, I wanted to just say thanks for hanging out on this one stream we did, and boom, here's that unique that your whole druid's gonna love to enjoy, and you didn't have to worry about finding it because we got you. That's an awesome feeling, and that's taken away from me, which kind of stinks. But we can make that up in the interim, in that I can help you get those rare items that you're going to use anyway as the base, and then it's on me and you to farm together to run those dungeons to get those legendary aspects and maybe hit that unique. So there's a lot of endgame for us to enjoy from what I'm reading. The Paragon boards are nuts. We're going to be living in dungeons, and I just hope that I enjoy the way the dungeons feel. Really, the game looks great. What are you thinking about it? It looks nuts.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Living in the dungeons sort of worries me a little bit, just because in my opinion, when I play, I don't like being essentially told where I have to go, even though in a roundabout way you're kind of like told where you got to go. Like if you want to find the rare unique items in D2, you got to go to the 85 areas, but it's not as like guided. Hey, you have to go do this. It's one of the reasons I was never a big fan of the terror zones. It's like, whoop, it's 1 p.m. Guess what? You have to go here now. It's like, ugh.
I hate that so much. I could be honest. Like we're going back to D2 for a second. I love the inclusion of terror zones because running like thousands of Veil runs gets very, very boring. Like that's why most people don't hit 99. You get bored and burnt out. So the terror zones were a nice adaptation of the end game grind, and we got the reward of loot behind that too. And then the Sunder Grand Charm, sure, but like you said, don't tell me where to be at 1 a.m. I'm going to be where I want to be. I want to be taking Pendle to the wall. Like that's where I want to be, but I can't because I'm missing out. Like that FOMO, right? That fear of missing out. It's like, don't like that a lot. It's a big reason I got out of Immortal, if we touch on that too today. But yeah, Diablo 4, I can appreciate that perspective. Like again, when we're talking and stuff, I'm not trying to listen to win. I'm listening to understand. And I think more people that do that, everybody wins. So I can appreciate the fact that you don't want to live in a dungeon. So might be tough.
Yeah, we'll have to see how these dungeons are, because I know, I don't remember the number. They said there was going to be like 150 different spots, but they're going to be randomly generated or something, right?
Okay, so here's what we know. There's 150 they said at launch. At the moment of the last press release that they had with the collector packs and stuff that they were showing, there was 116 dungeons that had a legendary codex of power associated to it. So if you want to apply a legendary aspect to your rare item, you got to go ahead and complete that specific dungeon, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get it on your entire account for all your characters. That's how that works. So they said 150, we saw 116. Interesting.
Yeah. I wonder what the variety of the dungeons is like, because different the different area that the dungeons are in, the dungeons are going to have different like skins essentially or whatever, right? So they're going to look a different way, kind of like
so like look at Skloz or whatever, the wretched den or something, whatever that one's called. So you walk in there, it's like the layout's the same, but the mob types vary. The tile sets might be a little bit different, but the mobs are the same, and the dungeons, you'll feel like you're in the delve or whatever. You're in that one, so the mob type changes. That's about it, from what I understand.
Yeah. So it's almost see the part that kind of alarms me about it, specifically those dungeons, that it sounds almost like running a riff over and over again, right? Like,
yep,
it's the same thing, but the riff, instead of being in one spot or whatever, you know, you go into the riff or whatever. These are just like the entrances are spread out in different places, so it seems like they're different places, but they're really not.
So think about running the pits. Think about running the pits, right?
Yeah.
Pits has got the same monsters, got the same layout-ish. You always know there's going to be a level 2. Same kind of thing here. It's the same kind of thing. Think about it that way. It's like going into like the cave or the pits or sewers too. That's what it looks like. So I'm not totally against that. Griffs, if we talk about D3, that's fine too. Anybody that loves D3, good on you, man. Season 28 looks totally
I don't
new,
know too much about D3, but that was one just a real quick anecdote thrown into the middle of this conversation. I pre-ordered D3, played it for the first month, tried to play it for the first month, and then I was like, can't do it.
It's World of Diablo Craft is what I look. It's an arcade version of the game I love. The art aesthetic was off. It felt like World of Warcraft. It was the spirit of the times. I don't enjoy it. I think today it's a weekend game, and you can hate me for it. That's fine. It's just my opinion. Like I would much rather play Diablo 2 Resurrected into D4. I think D4 hopefully is the spiritual successor to the game that I love, and I think D3 is its own thing. And the people that play it, they're really good at it. It just isn't for me, and like that's okay. It's okay that it's not for me. I hope it's for you. Hope you enjoy it, but I can't play that very long anymore. And like I can play D2. I can play D2 till I'm blue in the face, but for some reason, right, D3 just doesn't hit.
Yeah, we're both right there on the same one. But I'll be honest, I haven't played D3 since back then. But it just almost like if a girl cheated on you and you can never forgive them. That's what I felt like with D3. You know, that first. He's getting flashbacks. He's having
Holy shit! Who cheated on you, Phil?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Not the wonderful woman that I'm married to now. That's for sure.
I'm sure she's great. She supports an amazing guy.
Yeah. Thank you. Jeez. Yeah. She's twice as good as I am, even so.
Lucky to have her. Yeah. No, honestly, it just wasn't for me, and that's fine. So D4 though, like getting back on the tracks here. So D4 looks really, really good. I can open up to the idea that we can't trade legendary aspects. Because JSP exists and these trade sites exist, they shorten the longevity of the experience. And I think that's at a player's detriment ultimately, but we all want to feel powerful. But I think it's cool to do that with your friends, like getting in a voice call like me and you, right? If we get a chance to collab in D4, I'm down. And I'd love to run dungeons with some people in your community, mine as well. Like, let's get in there. Let's get involved and go, hey, man, he hit the unique. And now his druid, when he switches into a werebear, has got spikes in the shoulder because he found it. We're high-fiving, like, let's go, Phil, and like, bring him out to the PvP zone and let's see what he does. And let's have some fun. Like, I love those moments we create together. And when you introduce the ability to openly trade, you suffer the consequence of just buying the best things. And then, you got Optimus Prime out there, like, can't touch that guy because he's just had all this currency, or he bought his way to power, which I can't stand. So I like the idea of grinding for it. And I can respect that decision.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of like, agree with everything you're saying. I would prefer the open trade, but I do agree also with finding the stuff yourself. Obviously, with me wanting to play single player all the time, that's kind of the same thing. The same sentiment that I love the idea of finding everything yourself and stuff like that. It's a really hard balance. I'm optimistic for D4 and everything. I do love what I do like too is the way you kind of compared the dungeons to the pits too. That not that this is your job or anything, but it kind of made me feel a little bit better because sometimes it's almost the way that you think about something in your head can determine how it actually is, how you perceive it. Actually, what's the words I'm trying to think of? Perception equals reality. Like.
Absolutely.
The difference between one thing and another could totally just be about how you look at it. So I appreciate hearing your perspective on that one.
If you told somebody that like the new dungeons are like Greater Rifts, right? You've now likened that in their mind to that association. If I say it's like the pits to you now, you're like, oh, maybe he's right. You're not going to really know until you're knees deep in that situation. What does that feel like to you? So as I may be trying to influence you that way, I'm just telling you what I think. And so we could be living on Mars. We could be totally wrong, but my perception is kind of like what I'm telling you, and I'm just keeping it honest. So I hope that I'm right, and I don't want to do anybody a disservice and say like, oh, play it, push Blizzard. Like that's, if the game stinks, I'm going to tell you it sucks, and you'll know because I won't be playing it. Like there's a lot of reasons it could fail, but there's a lot of reasons it could be great, and I'm interested in investing a lot of time and meeting people through it, and hopefully brightening their day playing video games, right? So. Yeah, man, it just looks so fun, and all the class unique diversity. Like the rogue looks nuts, the barb's crazy. You want to play a druid's sick. There's all sorts of cool things we could do. I'm interested.
Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about the whole battle pass type of thing? Is that people have been very animated about that? Any type of monetization in a game, people really get animated about. Where do you fall on that one?
I don't mind putting money into something that I believe in. I don't mind supporting something that I enjoy. I will get my money's worth out of this game. Like, it's expensive, but I know I'm going to play like thousands of hours of it, so that's okay. I spend too much going to the movies now, so I can't even justify that cost, right? So it's like, okay, so Battle Pass. It's important to me that we don't give player power for money in anything that we do. I think that ruins it for everybody, because everybody deserves a fair swing at the bat. And the fact that there's a multi-tiered, if I understand it right, there's a free version, and then below that is the paid version of the Battle Pass. So if you buy that, all you're getting is cosmetic benefits. So whether you want to give someone a thumbs up emote in the game or 2 thumbs up, I could care less. It's what suits your enjoyment, and you should do that. You should support the products that you like, and follow that. My take is, will I get the Battle Pass? Probably, because of the occupational requirement. Like, me and you do this, so I want to show people what that is, and I'll incur the cost to do that. If I was playing by myself, like I wasn't in this position, I wouldn't give a flying rat's filthy what it is. I don't care. All I care about is getting into the game and killing things. And those thumbs up don't get me any closer, so I don't care. But the fact that I am making content and I want to show off the new armors and see how that looks in the game, I'm hyped for that, and I'm very fortunate to be in this position. So that's sort of my take on that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I can pretty much just go ditto. Let's move on. But yeah, I agree with everything you pretty much said. But some people have brought up points that it's hard for me to necessarily speak to, because I'm not in the situation. But people that you mentioned about FOMO, about terror zones and stuff like that, like people who will end up with the FOMO of cosmetics, end up dumping way too much money into it. And I don't know the amount of people that this would necessarily affect or whatever. But yeah, kind of this, in my personal opinion, as far as me, I probably will, like you said, get it because of the occupational necessity or desire, or whatever you want to call it. But generally, exactly the same. I would never get it if it was not. And yes,
congratulations. Your horse has scrolls on his back legs, like solid. I would rather take that time. I appreciate that they're doing it because the art aesthetic's great, but I'd rather take that into developing the game better. We all would, right?
Oh yeah,
right.
Sure.
We want a better game. So yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't blame them to a point either, just because of the way a lot of it is with the way corporate structure is nowadays. Stock market. Corporate shareholders. The shareholders, they're literally obligated by law to do what's best for the shareholders, the higher ups. So they have to try to make money. So
let me ask you this: did you ever play Path of Exile?
I did not. No.
You're familiar with the game though, PoE, right?
Yeah, I've heard of the game, and yeah, when we talk about stuff like this, the guests I've had on have brought up Path of Exile, so I think I might know where you're going. But yeah, continue. Okay,
so it wasn't all that bad. And from the player experience, or the joy it might bring you to buy that cosmetic thing, let me just take you to this ideology, okay? You're playing the sorceress for the 10,000th run in that dungeon, still haven't hit the perfect rare by design. Cool. That fireball's looking real boring. You know how that looks. But for 50 cents, that fireball gets a whole new animation and brand new color. And now when you shoot fireball, it feels like this torpedo instead, or whatever, like a shark comes out. Who knows, right? That's kind of cool. It might freshen the experience for you after run 10,000. So I like the idea that it could be great, not perfect, like the way you said before. I'm interested in that. And in PoE, it solves that. It makes it kind of a fresh experience. It's cool. It feels like your unique take on that character, because it's you in a digital world. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, the reason, like, you got to make money playing the game. I get why they're doing it, and it's kind of nice. Like, you get some player experience out of it, and maybe some enjoyment out of it. So I'm not totally against it. I'm way beyond paying for power. I don't want that at all. But this is a happy medium, I think. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'm kind of, I would say, not so much happy medium, but we're almost in the same spot. But I'm kind of fine with it, just because I don't care, really. It's kind of the cosmetic thing. It's just like I said, I'll get it, and it does kind of look cool and stuff, and hopefully it doesn't FOMO anybody into getting spending money that they don't want to or can't afford, right? But with the cosmetics, I guess I'm kind of sort of fine with it.
Did you get the ultimate version? What'd you get?
I did, but to be honest, you kind of don't get a ton with that. You get extra cosmetics for Immortal.
The reason I ask is, you're going to have a bunch of people in the game floating around with Tyrion's wings, going like, oh, like that's going to be happening. You're going to see that, right? So, so with that FOMO, it's like, did that really matter to you? Maybe it did. Like for the true Diablo fan, You don't have to buy that stuff to be a true Diablo fan. You're allowed to enjoy it too. You don't gotta have the wings. Doesn't matter. It's an emote. Like,
yeah,
it's nice, but
that was one that I definitely was, because of what you said about the battle pass too. I was like, well, this is like what I do now, so I should probably go ahead and get it, and then at least I can see what it is, and I could give an honest opinion on knowing exactly what it is, right?
To just give that its 2 cents or its day in court here. So the free version of the battle pass, you are going to get player EXP awards. So as you achieve a certain progression through the game and a certain character level, everybody in the game with that battle pass for free will get an EXP bonus for their alt characters, which we're going to end up making ultimately because the amount of gold we need to respec becomes astronomically high. You might as well make a whole new version of that bear you're going to play, or the druid, because you're going to find that unique. That's going to change the way that you play, and all your legendaries have to change behind that for a gold consequence. So instead of spending 20 million gold, you're like, I could just really level this guy up with like 60% more EXP because I kind of beat the game. You're like, and off you go. And now you have this whole new character. You have 2 druids now, right? So that will make sense logically for your time investment. So that's nice. And we get that for free. So that's, again, chef's kiss.
The one thing with the free, it depends on how you look at it, I guess, or how concerned you are with it. But that does kind of lead into the FOMO aspect, sort of, because if you need to play a certain amount to get the experience bonus, but so you have to get on and play more than you normally would in order to get that experience bonus that the other person got because they played a little bit more, and then they get even further ahead of you. So you better make sure you don't fall behind. You know what I mean? So it's a tough, and obviously that's a way that they're trying to get you to play the game more and play the game more and play the game more.
I don't know that a seasonal battle pass doesn't exist for free when a season starts, though, right? I think you might just get that when the season starts. Battle Pass opens for free. Go ahead. If you want to buy it, you get the extra cosmetic row below. It might be that way. That I don't know.
Oh yeah. That's kind of how it sounds. Yeah, but I was just kind of saying just how that the free Battle Pass, even getting the experience gain, kind of is trying to FOMO people into playing more. It's an aspect they do a lot on cell phone games. You know what I mean? They FOMO people into playing more. Like, you better get on and, or like you mentioned earlier, Diablo Immortal, get on and claim your free thing.
I'm with you this way. Don't tell me where to be. Don't tell me what I have to do every day. Let me enjoy the game the way I want to. I bought it, right? We're very similar in this regard. I think, like, give me the free choice, but the FOMO will be there. Yeah, you're 100% right. So hopefully,
it's one of those things I don't know if how upset we should necessarily be about it, because obviously they're gonna try to get ways to get people to play the game as much as possible. You would like it to be generally, I guess, the game is so effing good that you can't stop playing it, instead of like, oh, you better get on to get this experience. It's kind of gimmicky. I don't know how bad necessarily it is. I don't know how to weigh it personally, but
I think this would be the ultimate desire, right? You want to come home and play the game because you want to. You don't want to come home to play the game because you feel like you have to.
Mm-hmm.
A is way better than B in this regard, so I think we both want A all day. Yep.
For sure.
I think so.
So you had said you had heard, so the legendary aspects you get from the dungeons, you said, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So you complete a dungeon, you get something called a legendary aspect. It goes into a system called the Codex of Power, and there's 116 of them. And so every class has like a shared set of legendary powers. One would be pummeling. So whenever you knock down, stun, or freeze a target, you do 40% more damage to it. We all get access to that. But then there's like class-specific ones, like for the druid, whenever you shift into a different form, you get this fortified armor or fortified health, so you take 30% less damage. That's only for you. Another one's like the rogue, right? He sits there in the shadows and wreaths himself in shadows and does 11% damage reduction per shadow, and there's up to 5 stacks. Like, they become very defensive. But to get those, you got to clear dungeons, specific dungeons to get those. And to get that dungeon unlocked, you got to go do this world event to make it available to you. There's the carrot on the stick, right? So here you are on your horse running through, getting in there, going to the dungeon, and then boom, werebear comes out and off you go.
Gotcha. Right? And there was another way to get aspects. Well, isn't there lower tier aspects that you get from rares that you take to some guy or something?
So there's an occultist, right? And so when you use the Codex of Power, you're going to get the term here, the nut low, the absolute base value of every legendary ability. But as your world dominating, killing things, you can always drop legendaries anyway, and those have the variants. So let's say we'll use pummeling again, right? You do 40% more damage as a baseline, and pummeling does 40 to 50% damage bonus to knock down targets. The only way to get that 50 version is to kill a monster in the world or in the dungeon. You don't get it by completing it and getting awarded the Codex legendary version. So let's say you're going through, right, and you find pummeling on this sword. It's a pummeling sword. You take it to this occultist in the town, they break it down, and now you have this orb or this legendary ability. You then imprint that on a rare, and now that becomes that version of the legendary, and that's what you're going to use. So that the quest for all of us, I'm not sure where we're going here, but the quest is going to be finding the best rare version and the best rare legendary that will coincide for your character, including the uniques that they got, because we know Shaco's in the game, we know SOJ's in the game, we know Windforce is in the game. So how does that look on your character with those legendary choices? It's going to be a real big pain in the arse when all of a sudden, you're like, damn, I imprinted the wrong thing because I just hit Windforce. Crap, and now I got to play it for another 2 weeks. But that's the drive, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just asking because I know that you had said all the research you had done into it, and there was sometimes watching one dev interview that's an hour long, watching another one, it's hard to, match it up. And I know Max Roll's got a lot of good stuff on it, and I had heard on some of them that you could trade aspects, but then I had heard that there was other stuff that, you said the legendary ones you couldn't trade.
You're not trading squat. So when it comes to legendaries, uniques, and sets aren't even in the game yet. I think the ideology from the dev team is it's a no. You can't trade that. You can trade normal elixirs, gold, magic, and rare items, though. That you can. So magic is like, why would I give a crap about magic? Well, magic can have a higher roll. Do you know this? Maybe, do you know this? A magic item can roll a higher thing than a rare. That thing being like stun duration. Did you know that?
You're talking about in D4?
In D4, yeah, in D4.
Okay, yeah. Well, okay. I guess I didn't know that, or I forgot. I couldn't remember, but it's similar. That's how it is in D2, where the magics can roll like 40 magic find, but
on a ring, exactly right. Yep. So why that might be important? Let's say you're the guy that wants to roll through. You're the support guy. You're the support druid, right? All you do is lock targets down, and so it's important to you to build a stun duration barb or a stun duration druid, so that when we hit those things, we're all doing more damage. Like that team strategy or tactic would be kind of cool. D4 gives you that. So I'm amped for this game, man. It's got so much juicy bits that I just can't wait to try and get my hands on it and play. It looks really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the world events do look pretty cool too. I know you mentioned just all the people together, that one giant monster. I have heard some mixed reviews on them though, and like I said, I haven't played it. You said you haven't played it yet, but from people who have, that even though it looks cool, they kind of had mentioned that it seems a little, how'd they word it, repetitive or whatever, that it would almost like too simple, too basic. So I wonder if they're going to do anything, alterations with that, or because every single person that's played it, I think, kind of had the same opinion on it.
I've heard that it's so funny, man. People, we're going to make our decisions when we get there, right? That's what's going to happen. But what I don't know that I love the MMO ARPG. I love about Diablo 2, I sign in, I pick my character, I go where I want to go, and I farm what I want, and I enjoy it, and I get out of the game, and I go again. I love that. In an MMO ARPG, I can't do that. I'm in a region with 12 other people, or 20 other people, whatever the number is, and I recruit you on my team, and we go. I'm not sure that I love that. I like to see some of my community members like, hey, there he is, and he's doing that quest, no problem. I go in there and help him out, kill some monsters. That's fun. So I like that idea. It was fun in Immortal doing that, finding people. The repetition comment. I've run so many chaos in the last 8 months that I know that place like the back of my hand, right? I'm down for repetition. The reason I keep playing D2R is the itemization I love. And I think as long as Diablo 4 gets itemization right, you got me. Like, that's fine. And it looks like it's getting there, or it is there now. But I've heard similar comments to you. But again, I don't always believe what I hear, and I'm not saying that anybody should. But I'm gonna make my decision when I get in there and check it out. What do I think about it? So there's definitely depth. Like, we don't know all the uniques. We don't know all the legendaries. I've covered every Codex of Power available in the game. That's 116. But apparently there's even more, which is pretty exciting. Like, anyway, so that rabbit hole swirls down deep, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, how would you feel if you're playing your druid and you suddenly find a Jalal's Mane and it makes you like nuts druid? You're like, oh yeah, like, here we go, right?
Yeah,
there's another hour or two.
That first time that you find, and that's what's going to be crazy, like finding items like for the first time all over again. I can remember back in the day when you find your first Storm Shield or something, yeah, and you're having that all over again. It is going to be pretty wild. Pretty
great. So that I'm looking forward to. I don't try to listen to the negativity. I don't have time for that. I just try to be positive and see what I think. And if it lets me down, honestly lets me down, I'll tell people my thoughts. But I'm not going to construct an opinion without ever trying the game. I'm just salivating. I'm at the gate shaking, let me in. And like, when I finally get in, like you are, we're inevitable. So it would have been nice if we got in to make some opinions on things that we think might be beneficial. Doesn't mean they have to be integrated or implemented, but it's nice to be heard sometimes, like when you're putting in this kind of hours. And yeah, that's it. We'll see what happens there. I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
Man.
that's
I'm ready.
definitely the best way to look at it too. I know, without having any firsthand knowledge, all I got to go off of is what other people said. So I'm trying to read the tea leaves and match up like what people's opinions are and stuff like that. But yeah, you definitely get your hands on it first. Don't just trust me on if you think D3 is not that great. You got to try it yourself. And same thing with D4 for us. So.
Me either. So like here, so you just really quick, you're talking about a druid. So the idea of this fluid gameplay where you're like a human version of a druid. You're casting an elemental ability, right? Tornado goes out. Okay. Hurricane goes up, 15-second cooldown. It's out for 8 seconds, and you shift into a werebear. You stun everything, right? You then shift into a wolf. You heal up. Then you're back into the human form. Like you're this chameleon in combat. Diablo 4 gives you that. That's sexy, man. That's hot stuff. Now I'm on the barb. It's like, okay, I leap in, I stun, I kick, I reset, leap, I jump again. Like that's cool. That could be a build right there. Let me explore that for a month. Okay, that turns out his quads were too small. Couldn't do good leaps. Let's try another build, right? Like who knows? It's interesting because we have that depth in the character building. So I'm very interested in it. But again, you're going to form your own opinions. So what I think could be great might end up becoming, when you actually try it out, kind of boring, and that would be a letdown. So fingers crossed that it's not, but it could be. Yep.
Yeah, fingers crossed for sure. You know what I do want to pry into a little bit? You mentioned some stuff about Diablo Immortal. What I'm gonna get into like what your opinion is. I get kind of some pushback when I say like the gameplay of Diablo Immortal wasn't that bad. Like I kind of had fun just button mashing for a little bit. I only played it for like a week or whatever. But yeah, okay. the constant nagging, go here, go there, click this to get this, go into this menu and click here to get that, super annoying, and that definitely turned me off. I have no problem just going like, no, I'm not buying these dumb gems. I'm not buying this other currency thing. But yeah, there's a ton of vitriol in the community for that game, which in a way I understand. But as a free game, it's a cell phone game. That's kind of my. It's almost exactly what I expected, I guess. Is the only reason that I'm not too upset. Like if you look at any cell phone game, they're a disaster like that. So, but what are your overall opinions on them?
So we played Diablo Immortal for quite a bit. I got raked over the coals, and I'll still say it today because it's how I feel. I loved playing the game. In the beginning, I was like, this is awesome. I'm enjoying myself. It's a mobile game. This is cool. I thought that was great. The pay-to-win aspect, I despise. I said that pretty clearly. I'm not a fan of that. But I'm pretty reserved this way. You could buy this in my face and I'll just walk right through you. I don't care. I don't have to buy your stuff. We ended up beating the game without spending a cent. So that was fun. That just proved the fact that you could. But I enjoyed Diablo Immortal. Where I kind of lost favor with the game was the Immortal was not the best in the game. To be the Immortals in Diablo Immortal was worse than being, what's the other side of it? The Shadows or whatever they are? Right?
I think so. Right when I got to a point in the game where that stuff started, that's when I stopped playing. So we had guilds or clans. We had 2 of them running, and it was pretty good. We were being competitive. We were getting involved in the Rites of Shadow. I think it's what it was called. And we're trying to become the Immortals on the server, right? That's what we did. So we were doing that, and then we found out that the benefit to be that is worse than what we already have. So right there, I was like, well, where's the ceiling here? Like, I don't understand why I'm still. Where's the carrot? I have nothing to chase, and so that kind of the flame of interest dwindled immediately. And I thought, hey, at least I tried it. So the gameplay was kind of fun, but there just wasn't enough meat in that game to satiate my hunger to continue grinding it. So I liked the game. I thought it was actually a pretty good mobile game, probably the best I've ever played. But I don't play a lot of mobile games, and yeah, I'll give it its credit. And I get raked over the coals for that comment, but I'm allowed to like what I like, and I thought it was okay. But it's nowhere near, like, you can't compare it to other Diablo titles because it's a mobile game. And I don't think it's fair to liken Diablo 4 to Diablo Immortal at all. They're just very different products. So yeah, I'm kind of right there with you with less experience on the Immortal. It was, I mean, I had a good time for the week. And the same thing, I have no problem. Just like, I almost don't even see the spend money thing. I'm just like, okay, yeah. Oh, these 1,000 gems are 99 cents. I know this gimmick. I know this scam. You try to get your credit card in there, and then it's way easier to buy more. Like, get that. Dude,
I remember it was such a hit. It's like I was grinding. I think Crusader was the class. I think in that game too. Like, hopefully I'm not wrong there, but I was grinding the class ladder, and I was clearing I was on the top on my server. I was like, here we go, right? So we're doing it. Barricade's there, looking good, cool. And then the guy passes me, and that was that pay to win feeling. I'm like, what's his gear looking like? And I see all the money investment. I was like, So that's we're done with that. I had a good run with that. Like I'm not going down the credit card avenue, so thanks. So I got into PvP and the class was okay, but I'm losing to these guys that paid to win. It's like I can really appreciate people's vitriol, like you said about that. It's like, man, so unfair, and I'm so happy D4 doesn't have that. But yeah, it was a good game. I still had fun playing it, regardless of the competition perspective. Yeah, it was still fun.
And I could see if I was more serious into it. I guess there was never a point where I ever really, because like I said, I didn't even beat the game, just played it for a week or whatever. But just not necessarily, never comparing my character, because I never did the PvP, and then you end up losing out. I never really cared about the leaderboards, and you're losing out to someone who paid. So I didn't have the same experience as, other people.
What happened to you? Where were you playing it? And you're like where your hands are on the keys, you're going after, you're like, nah, like where's that moment where you're just like, I'm done? Do you remember where that was?
There was some quest where I had to, what was it? I really can't remember. I just remember there was some quest where I had to go get something or do something. And I was just like, I don't want to go get that or do that. And then and I was like, I just want to go back to playing D2 where, maybe there's almost a thing where it's almost like more, not, well, it was like I would come in and I would go to the board where there was a bounty board. I'd do some bounties and get this and that. And it would be like, go into this menu. And that's the thing too. Having to go in and click here to claim this, click here to claim that. That's kind of a big turnoff for me, having to be FOMO'd or forced or whatever way you want to call it into going in and clicking all these buttons and stuff. Not a big fan of clicking buttons in menus and stuff like that, I guess, button clicking simulator.
I think that's happening in D4, to be honest. I think there's going to be a lot of go save this person to go unlock that. You're going to see what happens, but I don't want to spoil it too much. But from what I've seen, that's you're going to give. Yeah, that's happening. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's happening for you. So we'll see.
Oh no, you ruined the. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, we'll have to see how it is. But yeah. I did catch that a little bit. The what's it called? The random instancing or whatever, where you're stumbling along and all of a sudden you and your gang got to rescue this person from the zombie bears or something or whatever they decide to make the monster and stuff like that. Yeah. I do have a feeling they've mentioned it and you kind of seen it a little bit.
That's thing that I think we both hate. We both don't like that. That's the MMORPG, right? Yeah. It's making me do that thing.
Yeah. That one's I don't hate as much. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's more of like, oh, you're here. Make sure you log on 24 hours from now and you can claim another 20 gold or something. Go into this menu and then you got to scroll across the menu where you see all this stuff that, in Immortal anyways, scroll across all the stuff you got to pay for to claim the free thing. And you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think just to harken on this point again, like I think video games should sort of accent our life. They shouldn't dictate our life choices. Like, honey, we can't go to that movie tonight because I got to be online at 6:00 or I'm missing out on that world boss. Like if that happens, I probably won't ever partake in that because I'm not given that choice that much power in my life. I just want it to bring me joy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there was actually, another thing that made me think of, completely off topic, that I just feel like diving into because why not? Something I used to do that kind of got me like that is I used to do DraftKings stuff. Okay. And I don't know, have you ever done any DraftKings FanDuel stuff?
I know all about it, but never ever. Yep.
Well, yeah. So I started doing basketball because it was like every day, but you had to check your basketball lineups right before the games. And if you didn't check them, like people get ruled out 5 minutes before the game, 1 minute before tip off to swap people out. And yeah, that was. I was never like crazy addicted, but I started doing it and you'd have to, geez, like you're at your family event and you got to like change the lineup real quick. And so, yeah, it's kind of you definitely want to steer clear from that stuff. Cause I can remember that happening where I have to get my phone out, driving down the road, changing your lineup, and you're like, you don't be doing that.
But it's the kind of thing like we were just talking for like the first time for a long time here and it's great, but do you have that addictive personality where like you could just like when you get in on something, you got to learn about it. You want to know all about what's going on. Like, is that how you are?
To a point. I'm not like, I'm not that way too crazy, but kind of to a point. Like, whether it's like with the video editing stuff, I like learn that Diablo 2, get in learning that, or if I do something, I want to be good at it, right? I don't want to be bad at things. I don't like being worse than everybody at stuff. So yeah, a little bit, but not too crazy. I'm not good example, we'll say like I've watched interviews with Mr. Beast and stuff, and he's saying how he's completely obsessed with YouTube. It's all he does every second of every day. There's always a point where it cuts off, and it's like, okay, this is too much. I never go too far with it.
Yeah. So the reason I was asking is there's going to be personality types where being online at 6, those people are genuinely going to feel emotional, like drought, like, man, I got to get there, and it's going to skew their life. It's like, I hope that Blizzard's like nice enough to not force gameplay that way for everybody's benefit, right? Like, that'd be great, but it probably won't go that way, and you're probably going to miss out, and it's going to suck. I hope, but hopefully it's not that way, right?
I think they're going to have some stuff like that. Well, it's going to be just for cosmetics or experience gain or whatever, but the free battle pass. But hopefully it's like a soft touch or an easy hand, whatever the phrase is that goes towards
hand holding. Yeah.
Or just that it doesn't push it too much, that people don't feel too forced. That
same. So I want people to have fun playing video games, period. Not stressed out because you missed something. Yeah. Yep.
For sure. Alrighty, coming into a few different questions. I love getting to know people a little bit better.
Sure.
For you are Canadian, you must love hockey, right?
Nope.
What?
Nope. I don't like hockey. I don't like Timmy's.
No maple syrup.
Nope, not for me. Nope. I'm just different that way. Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. You got to go with the Canadian stereotypes, right? But what type of hobbies do you like? You mentioned Magic the Gathering, obviously. Is it stuff like that, or is there more? Do you like sports and stuff like that? What kind of hobbies you do outside of streaming D2?
Ooh, oh man. So I do still play some tabletop card games with my brother and good friends of mine. That's about what I do. I go to the gym frequently because I think, you got to have an active body, sharp mind, good spirit. Not a really religious guy, but if you are, that's cool for you. Power for you. Hobbies, honestly, man, not much. I'm so into streaming and content creation that this is my life, man. This is what I do. Like, you can see I'm wearing like Enigma merch. Like, I am in this stuff. So it's like, I am trying to create a space for a lot of people to feel comfortable, included, and welcome, and just thrive inside of Diablo 4. And it's my life. And I got an amazing support system here at home too. So I'm a dad, right? I got 2 dogs, and then I try to make it happen. And I got great people around me. You can't do it alone. And in terms of hobbies, dude, it's a pretty lame answer, but I'm a workaholic. It's like 70 hours a week or more of what I'm doing. It's nonstop. Okay. This is like an unrelenting train of domination.
No, I got to ask you a question there. You said, I don't know if those were blended together or if you said you're a dad and you have 2 dogs. Were you insinuating you're a dog dad?
No, I'm a dad. No. I've got
human children.
Yeah. A bit of both. So yeah, good question. So I have a daughter. She's 19. I'm 38. Had her really early in life. And that sort of formed the guy I am now. Had to grow up really early and get my stuff together. And so I got 2 dogs that are rescues. Got those locally too, which is great. I'm not into breeding dogs, and if you are, that's cool. But yeah, she's the reason we do everything, man. It's you want her to be happy and successful, right? So lead by example.
That's great. Yeah, I got a 6-year-old daughter myself, and
crazy
a 17-year-old stepson. So
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, having kids and doing the whole content creation type of thing can be a little bit of a struggle. You understand a little bit. Obviously, your daughter's older now, so it's not as much. But yeah, when you got a little 6-year-old, she's now she wants to. Oh, I want to play video games when I get older, and it's like, well, I don't know if everybody can do it. You got to really commit to it. It's actually work. You got to edit videos and stuff.
Yeah, like I told other streamers this. Like, I'm sure people ask you all the time. Like, do they ask you a lot of stream questions? Other people, like, hey, I want to get into streaming, right? They do.
Sometimes, yeah.
So what I tell them is, like, the truth is, for me and anybody that I get a chance to stream to, like, you deserve my best. If you're going to give me some time and attention, I'm going to give you the best I got. So when I'm live playing video games and we're streaming together, we're doing like seasonal play. That's the downtime. The work is behind the scenes, right? Like, the work is making the effects and everything I do, and like the transitional work and the graphics and the schedule of what are we doing this week? What's that whole timeline look like? What's the story I'm trying to tell? Like, that's the work. So it's a ton of work. And you got a 6-year-old, man. Like, I don't even know if I couldn't fill those shoes, man. Hats off to you, because I couldn't do it. I'm lucky to be in a space and time now where I can be me and do this with the support that I've got. So I can only imagine, man. Like, you got to be killing it.
In a way, it was almost the way my channel actually started. Kind of came out of like having her sort of when I was younger, before I had before I met my wife now and had a kid, I was just always just trying to stay busy as much as possible. Really, plus I went out and partied quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, but I was playing sports a lot too. I was, trying to get in softball leagues, playing basketball all the time, and stuff like that. And kind of how a lot of this happened is I had to be home because, her diaper isn't going to change itself, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and what can I do at home? I wanted to start to, with my downtime, instead of, you're not going out to the bar and stuff. What am I going to do with this downtime? Do I want to sit and watch Netflix all the time? Maybe I'll try to figure out.
Good for you, man. This is great.
Try to figure out something to like advance myself in some way. I'm an adult. I work in some factory at the time. I wanted to do something, maybe I'll try to figure out something that will help it. So I started to like try to teach myself Spanish, which was tough. I tried to think of how I could, maybe some side hustle. Maybe I'll do some carpentry in the garage or something. You hear about guys doing things like that and selling a thing here and there. And I ended up, maybe I could make YouTube videos or something. And that's just how it happened. I made 1, I made 2, I made 3. And then here we are, you know what I mean? So I probably would have never done this if I didn't have, the daughter, the little kid. So, miraculously enough, it happened that now I do it full time. So I'm pretty lucky, I could say for sure.
Yeah, you feel like you're super lucky. Like for me, it could all be over tomorrow. Like I always say that. I try to make the most out of it, and it's really a passion project, man. Like I don't know what your take is, but you got to be yourself. You got to love what you're doing, because if you don't, we're gonna see it. We're gonna feel it. Like you gotta really want to share your time with other people, and like those little windows of opportunity, like being on a podcast and meeting Phil and like actually meeting you. It's like, hell yeah, I'm in for that. You gotta go for that. You gotta push, right? And if you do, maybe there's something there for you. And if you're lucky enough to grab it, good for you. And hold on, man. Yeah.
One thing when I asked you about your hobbies that you mentioned that I loved, I talked about going to the gym. It's me and kind of funny. One of my channel members came up with it, but in my Discord, I have a fitness channel, but of course it's PHIT, Phil Fitness. So clever.
I love it.
But
I love it.
Do a little challenge. I don't know if you can tell, I lost 6 pounds, 7 pounds over January. So
feeling huge. Yeah.
Pretty proud of myself. But yeah, going to the gym, staying healthy, very important. So great to hear that. And we try to inspire each other. So that's pretty awesome.
I didn't start hitting the gym till I was 30. I'm 38 now. So for the last 8 years, it's just been about like, I'm not a nut. Like I've got that crazy addictive personality. I could go all in. I could be a gym rat. I could be on the rotations, getting thick and swollen huge, but that's not going to happen for me. I go to be healthy and be happy. So that's my balance. And when you stream, like, right? Like this is what I'm finding out. You got to find that balance for you. So I think that the fitness routine is working out for me. The live time is great, but you got to have that balance, and you can't get there unless you take care of yourself physically, because you got to have the energy to go, right? It's nonstop, and you're not going to get there being a couch potato, right? Lazy is not going to help you. It's not.
Yeah.
Moving plates will, right? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And even though I used to do more heavy lifting. I've kind of switched more to cardio, but doing so much sitting, editing video takes hours, streaming, obviously. Sitting behind this computer right here, even though it's painful in the time. Well, for me, anyways, doing cardio stuff can be painful. I've been getting a lot better though over January. I've been hitting the stairs, killing it. In my opinion, anyways, hitting the stairs. So
stairs is rough, dude. Stairs is rough. Don't hit. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's great cardio though. Finally, it was so hard for me to do cardio because I was just always. And you would think it wouldn't be that way because I grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, all these different sports. But for some reason, cardio just was never there for me. I was always lifting, picking heavy things up and putting them back down, But I've been really hitting it and liking the cardio a lot more. Netflix, YouTube stuff helped me out a bunch when I realized, doing cardio. And that's what's good about the stairs as opposed to running. Like when you're running, you're bouncing like this, running. Right. Stairs, you're less...
You're isolated
impact.
Watching it.
So it can, your head's not bouncing around. You can actually just watch something, and sometimes 20 minutes will go by and not even realize it. And you look at your heart rates up at a good spot and you're breaking a sweat and you're like, wow, that was great. Because that time went by, Netflix, YouTube, watching Barricade on stream or something like that.
Sure.
While you're doing exercise, So.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I think it's important. And like, if anybody feels like we're trying to push you to go and you've never gone, you should go. Give it a shot. They usually have free days. Just try it once, see how you feel, because I can tell you personally, like it changed my life. I'm a better person because I made the choice to go. And I was so scared of working out in front of other people. Remember the beginning, like the 10-pound weights in the shoulders and all that stuff. That's all noise. Just get out there and just know that anytime you leave that gym, you're a better person than you were when you went in. It's always a better version coming out, unless you're screwing around. Don't be screwing around at the gym, and have a good time while you're there, right? Yeah, try to. Yeah, that's what I tell people. Just give it your all. Give it your all. Yeah,
that's great advice, and I could not agree more. Yeah, just getting out there and kind of with the health epidemic around the world, essentially.
That's what I was going to talk about. Did you get COVID? You ever catch COVID?
I did a few different times because the kid
Same,
goes
I got
to
it
school
twice.
and then comes home. You're in like preschool, kindergarten. They get sick every second of ever, forever. So,
so you're talking about cardio. I got it twice, man, and I totally agree. Like going to the gym helps. I don't know what's going on with the COVID stuff. My cardio got impacted. My lung capacity. I don't know. Like it's different.
You got one that hit you with the lung capacity issue, right?
Yeah. So like the air is a problem. So I got to go now. Like now it's a requirement for me to go just to get back to where I was. So that's my side hustle. That's my side journey right now, trying to get that back up to where it was. So if you guys are feeling that way too.
Super light. Like I was literally like I was like like that was how bad COVID was for me every time. So I guess I lucked out, maybe a little headache or something, but I never had much of an issue.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm different, but yeah, still working on it. Hopefully, and the gym's helping. So if you feel the way I felt, go. Just go. Get on a treadmill, listen to a Philcast, and let rip.
This Philcast right here, after you hit the like button and subscribe up.
That's right. Do it. You should. You really should. Yeah.
Love it. All right, we're creeping around 2 hours here. I'm gonna have to go ahead and hop off. But man, it's been great talking to you. Amazing to talk to you. You're almost more entertaining to talk to than you are watching on stream. But you're so good on stream, I can't tell which one you do better.
Well, thank you for the time anyway. You're very welcome. I appreciate the opportunity. And if we get a chance to slay some demons in D4, man, I'm down. And anybody else, hop on in, get involved.
We'll definitely have to find some time to do that for sure.
Sounds good to me, man. All right, well, adios. Much love, and I'll see you soon.
Real great. Before you go, one thing I always ask from my guests, you got to give me your best keep slaying.
Keep slaying.
Oh, so great.
Decent.
So great.
Thank you.
So great.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Barricade, and peace out,
Adios,
everybody.
man.
We'll catch you in the next Philcast.